Looking forward to discussing with you solving supply chain problems with planning and optimization tools. Before we start, can you provide a brief background of yourself and your company?
Sure. Um, Good morning, Dustin. Um, Technologics is located, our base is in Canada, in Toronto, Canada, and we have offices in Mexico, Colombia, and Argentina, and we've been developing planning and optimization solutions um, for over 25 years, since the early 1990s. I am one of the two um, partners in the firm, and it is a relatively small organization, very, I would stable in terms of the people working, our team. Um, I consider us to be a boutique firm that specializes in helping people solve problems that, uh, for whatever reason, being too complex or too specific, um, cannot be or are difficult to solve with out of the box uh, software solutions. That's our strength, developing solutions that focus on complex and unique problems.
Thanks. Can you explain a bit more about what type of supply chain problems fall under your planning and optimization umbrella?
Sure. Um, pretty much any supply chain headache or problem that is facing the need to utilize any type of resource, be it equipment, space, people, uh, transportation units, or a combination of all of them. And if there is a need to utilize resources more efficiently or more effectively, uh, those are the type of problems that we focus and address. And they can fall under very strategic topics like the typical one would be a supply chain network design. They could be tactical, like a sales and operations planning solution, or they could be very day-to-day operational issues, such as the routing of cargo vessels. So the topics are vary a lot, um, but they all the commonality to each one of our projects is the challenge to utilize resources better and more cost effectively. And though I would like to add that the heavier component of our work focuses on supply chain design and supply chain optimization, which are strategic and tactical type problems.
So you mentioned that one of your clients has been running your system for 25 years. What are the keys to success of a supply chain planning and optimization system?
Good question. The client is a chemical company in Canada. They're one of the largest suppliers and distributors of sulfuric acid in North America. And we implemented one of our first supply chain optimization solutions using Optinet, our development platform, back in 1991. And they're still running the application, and it's probably its eighth or ninth generation or version. And if I can pinpoint, if we use that as a good example, what we see as the key success factors, I can think of three main ones. There are many, obviously. But three are the main ones. The first one is the ability of the tool or the solution to generate good quality results, results that are valid and that are cost effective. That would be number one in our mind. Second, going back to the first one before I move to the second one, so it really won't matter how technologically advanced the application is, how smooth the interface, how colorful the graphs, and how powerful the analytics. If the output is not good, it's not going to work because the users won't be able to use what the software or the tools is suggesting them to do, be it a production plan, a distribution plan, or a scheduling of manufacturing lines. So that would be number one. Number two is to make life easier and not more complicated for the users. Going back to and related to the first point. So let's say the system generates good quality results, but the user needs 10 hours to massage data, manipulate data, build a scenario, run a scenario, and analyze it. No matter how good the solution, it's not going to succeed because the user doesn't have 10 hours to do what he needs to do. So the second key element is to be able to generate good quality results quickly. And that means building around the model and the algorithm that generates the solution, all the logic required, and the interface required so that the user can build the scenarios and analyze them quickly and effectively. That would be number two. And the third element that I think is critical in all these type of projects is the ability of the application to adapt to change. And there are two major type of changes. The first one is during the project. So no matter how careful you are scoping these monsters, planning and optimization projects are complex. And it's unrealistic to ask your clients to define exactly what they're looking for up front. So typically you will define the scope and develop the application with your client. And the end product is going to be probably 70% what you envisioned. And the remaining 30% are adjustments that are incorporated during the development and implementation. And things that we missed, restrictions or rules that were misinterpreted, new graph, new charts, etc. So the tool has to be able to allow the users to incorporate change and adapt. And the second category is once the system is up and running, after 2, 3, 4, 10 years, it has to be able to allow users and the client organization to incorporate changes, new rules, new restrictions, new plans, new customers, etc. Allowed to incorporate changes and do it efficiently. If not, we go back to what I said before, making life easier for the users and not more complex. So those would be, I think, the key elements of a successful implementation.
And if there's one piece of advice that you could offer organizations that are considering a planning and optimization system project, what would it be?
Get the foundation of the building right. And by that, I mean, as when you're planning a new structure, a new house, a new building, if the foundation is not right, the building will have problems. The same applies to these type of projects. Get the foundation right. And what I mean by the foundation is get the scope of the system and the project right. And by scope, I mean what this system is going to do and how it's going to do it. I'll go back to exchange I had with a colleague of ours in LinkedIn not long ago. He posted a question asking the community in the supply chain optimization group to recommend a good supply chain optimization software package. And of course, the 24 vendors quickly proposed their application as being the best for A, B, C, or D reasons. And one member of the group had the right reply, and it was a question to this individual. Tell us what it is that when you're talking about supply chain optimization, what exactly are the questions you're looking to answer? What are the topics? Because it could be a network design, or it could be a detailed system that runs every week and plans your production and distribution. So the key to these projects is to define the scope correctly and develop the logic that reflects the scope and the needs of what you're trying to address. That, in my view, and based on my experience, is the key to these projects. And the way to try and accomplish that is, before you start looking at software or vendors or anything like that, you work with somebody that understands modeling and understands how these systems work, not necessarily and preferably not a vendor. And in a workshop, focus on what your needs are and what you're trying to get out of this software or this solution, even before you start talking about a specific software package. That would be, if there is one recommendation to companies looking into this topic, that would be it. Get the scope done right.
Well, thanks, Jerry, for sharing today.
You're very welcome, Dustin. It was a pleasure talking to you.